Chapter 12, Non-steroidal anti-asthma agents. Next slide. Let's first define some key terms. First, anti-leukotrienes. They block the leukotriene inflammation. So these are medicines that stop the leukotrienes or the inflammatory chemicals from working. So by blocking them, nire-reduce nila yung swelling ng airways, and they also help na ma-prevent yung asthma symptoms like wheezing at shortness of breath. Second, immunoglobulin E. Immunoglobulin E, they are a type of antibody made by the immune system, especially during allergic reactions. Sa asthma, nag-react sila sa mga triggers like dust or pollen na nag-cause ng release ng mga chemicals that lead to airway inflammation. Third, leukotrienes, inflammation-causing chemicals. They are substances na na-release sa body during allergic or inflammatory responses. They cause airway swelling, mucus production, at tightening ng airway muscles na papahirap sa breathing sa asthma. Fourth, mast cells. The mga histamine-releasing cells, they are immune cells found sa mga tissues like sa lungs natin. So kapag triggered ng mga allergens, nag-release sila ng histamine and other chemicals na nag-cause ng inflammation, swelling, and allergy symptoms. And lastly, mast cell stabilizers prevents the mast cell release. So ito yung mga drugs na nagpo-prevent ang mast cells from releasing histamine at ibang inflammatory substances. Ginagamit sila para ma-prevent ang asthma attacks but not to treat sudden symptoms. Next slide. Clinical indications for non-steroidal anti-asthma agents. Non-steroidal anti-asthma agents, ginagamit sila for prophylactic management or prevention ng mild persistent asthma. Prophylaxis, it means taking medicine regularly para ma-stop yung symptoms before they could actually happen but not to treat an ongoing asthma attack. Yung mga drugs na to, they're commonly given sa mga patients who need step 2 care or yung step 2 care, early stage ng asthma kung saan yung mga patients, they already need daily maintenance medication to keep their symptoms under control. Medications like cromolyn and anti-leukotrienes, pwede silang magamit as alternatives to low-dose inhaled corticosteroids, especially for patients na who cannot tolerate steroids. Cromolyn is often preferred sa mga infants at young children because it is generally safer. Anti-leukotrienes may also be used together with corticosteroids para mabawasan yung need ng steroid dose. Mga drugs na to, they are considered controller medications, meaning they are taken regularly to prevent inflammation and asthma symptoms, and they are not used for quick relief during asthma attacks. Next slide. Mechanisms of inflammation in asthma. First, asthma, it is a chronic inflammatory disease sa airway natin. Meaning, meron ng long-term swelling and irritation sa breathing passages. Pwede siyang ma-classified into two types. Extrinsic asthma, which is allergy-related and involves immunoglobulin E. And also, intrinsic asthma, which is non-allergic and hindi siya triggered by common allergens. And extrinsic asthma, more common siya sa younger individuals, while intrinsic naman, usually develop siya later in adulthood. Asthma is considered an evolving disease, meaning yung triggers niya, it changes over time. Sa early childhood, often triggered by viral infections. Sa teenage naman, adolescence is sa mga allergens like dust or pollen. And sa adults naman, may become more intrinsic, driven by the immune cells like T cells na nag-release ng inflammatory substances. Merong three main features ng asthma. First, patients experience the acute asthma attacks, which are episodes ng breathing difficulty that can resolve on their own or with treatment. Second, there is airway hyperresponsiveness. which means yung airway natin nag-overreact sila sa mga triggers like smoke, cold, air, or allergens. And lastly, yung persistent inflammation, meaning yung airways natin they remain swollen over time and can worsen if hindi siya na-control. Dahil sa inflammation na to, several changes can happen sa airways natin. It includes bronchoconstriction or yung tightening ng airway muscles, swelling, and increased mucus production which can block the airflow. Over time, repeated inflammation can lead to airway remodeling kung saan yung airway structure natin is nagbabago and becomes more sensitive, making asthma symptoms more severe and harder to control. Next slide. Next slide is immunologic or allergic response in asthma. Allergic response in asthma, it starts kapag yung person is nag-inhale ng allergen like dust or pollen. The body recognizes this as harmful and activates the T lymphocytes, which then signal B lymphocytes to produce immunoglobulin E. Yung IgE, tinatawag siyang cytophilic antibody kasi nag-a-attach siya sa surface ng mga mast cells. When the person is exposed again sa same allergen, it binds to the IgE on the mast cells. This then causes the mast cells na mag-release ng chemicals like histamine, leukotrienes, prostaglandins, and cytokines. Itong mga chemicals na to, nag-lead sila ng narrowing ng airways natin o yung bronchoconstriction, swelling, and increased mucus. Yung nagpapahirap ng paghinga during asthma. Then after this, the reaction becomes stronger kasi more immune cells, especially eosinophils, along with neutrophils and lymphocytes, ay na-attract sa airways. Yung mga cells naman na to, they release more harmful substances na nagda-damage ng airway lining and worsen the inflammation. Additionally, yung addition molecules, tinutulungan nila yung mga cells na to na mag-move from the blood into the airway tissues. Yun yung nag-a-allow ng inflammation para mag-continue. Aside from allergens, nerve pathways also contribute. Yung nerves sa mga airways natin, nag-release sila ng neuropeptides like yung mga substance P and neurokinins A and B, which then cause more airway tightening, mucus production at inflammation. Triggers such as cold air, dust, or smoke can activate these nerve responses. In addition to this, nitric oxide is also produced sa airways natin. Though pwede siyang makatulong para ma-open yung airways natin, sa asthma kasi it is often increased and excessive production can contribute to inflammation and tissue damage. So overall, asthma is not just a simple back blockage but a complex inflammatory process. Kaya yung treatment, nag-focus siya sa controlling ng inflammation at pag-prevent ng mga reactions na to from happening. Sa table na to, makita natin yung mga non-steroidal anti-asthma medications. Ayan. Yung cromolyn-like agents like cromolyn sodium, anti-leukotrienes like Zafirlukas, Montelukast, and Xeloton, and monoclonal antibody like Omalizumab, their brand name and formulation and dosage, which will be then discussed individually. Next, cromolyn mast cell stabilizing agent. Cromolyn sodium, also called disodium chromoglycate, prophylactic asthma medication siya na nag-work by stabilizing yung mga mast cells at preventing the release ng mga inflammatory chemicals like histamine, leukotrienes, prostaglandins, and cytokines. It does not open the airway, so it cannot be used to treat acute asthma attacks. Cromolyn is also used for allergy rhinitis as nasal spray and mastocytosis as oral capsules. Next slide po. So dosage and administration, For asthma, cromolyn is usually given as nebulized solution 20 mg per 2 ml, inhaled 4 times daily with slow even breathing. For allergic rhinitis, nasal spray 5.2 mg per actuation is used. One spray per nostril 3 to 4 times daily for allergen exposure. While sa mastocytosis, oral capsules 200 mg taken 4 times daily to control systemic muscle symptoms. Sa mode of action, cromolyn it must be taken before symptoms occur because it prevents the muscle degranulation. It may block calcium influx sa muscles. Yun yung nagsistop ng release ng mga mediators. But it does not block IgE attachment or hindi siya nag-act directly sa mga chemical mediators. This allows it to prevent the late phase asthma response. Ito yung kung saan nag-occur na yung mga hours after an initial attack. And also it reduces the reaction to non-allergic triggers and exercise-induced asthma. Next slide. Pharmacokinetics. After inhalation, the drug is distributed mainly to the lungs, with a small portion swallowed and excreted mostly unchanged. Cromolyn is considered very safe with mild systemic side effects such as cough, sneezing, nasal irritation, or bad taste. Compared to drugs like theophylline, meron siyang better safety profile and fewer systemic effects. Clinical efficacy. Cromolyn sodium has been shown to be an effective prophylactic treatment for asthma, working in about 70% of patients with both the intrinsic, non-allergic, and extrinsic or allergic asthma. Long-term studies in children have demonstrated na regular use ng cromolyn kaya niyang mag-improve ng lung function to near normal levels comparable to inhaled corticosteroids. Nire-reduce niya both the early phase or yung immediate bronchoconstriction and the late phase which occurs later, asthmatic responses, and protects against allergen challenges. Beyond asthma, cromolyn can also help reduce ACE inhibitor-induced cough and even decrease red blood cell sickling in children with severe sickle cell disease by blocking the calcium-activated potassium channels. Hydrochromyl sodium or Tylade, another muscle stabilizer siya. Though hindi na siya though it is previously used in similar ways, it is no longer commercially available. Next slide. Tayo sa first anti-leukotriene agents. Second, anti-leukotriene agents. They are the drugs mainly in used mainly in asthma management that works by blocking the action or production ng leukotrienes. They are leukotrienes, which are inflammatory chemicals sa body natin. They help reduce airway inflammation, bronchoconstriction, and mucus production. Merong two types. First is leukotriene receptor antagonists. Example is yung drugs like Montelukast, Zephyr-Leucas, and Pranleucas na nagbublock ng leukotriene receptors. Second naman is leukotriene synthesis inhibitor. Example is drug like Xyloton, nagpo-prevent ng leukotriene formation. Mga drugs na to, they help control asthma symptoms by targeting yung mga inflammatory chemicals called leukotrienes, which are the key substances responsible sa airway narrowing and inflammation. Next slide. Leukotrienes and inflammation. So, leukotrienes, lipid mediators sila derived from arachidonic acid and belong to a group of inflammatory molecules called eicosanoids. So, they play an important role sa asthma and allergic inflammation. Ang effects nila, they include strong bronchoconstriction, increase mucus secretion, airway swelling like edema, reduce ciliary activity, and attraction of inflammatory cells sa airways. So leukotrienes, powerful chemicals sila that can worsen asthma by tightening airways and increasing the mucus and inflammation, making breathing more difficult. Next slide. So ayan, cell sources of leukotrienes. Leukotrienes, di sila nasa cells, ay di sila na-store sa cells, but they are produced kapag yung body natin is stimulated by triggers like allergens, infections, or inflammatory signals. Cells involved sa leukotriene production includes mast cells, eosinophils, basophils, monocytes and macrophages, neutrophils, and B lymphocytes. Though sa asthma, eosinophils, mast cells, and macrophages are the main contributors sa lungs. So, kapag yung body natin nag-encounter sila ng mga triggers like allergen, immune cells sa lungs, nag-produce sila ng leukotrienes. Yun nag-contribute sa asthma symptoms and airway inflammation. Biochemical pathways of leukotrienes. Arachidonic acid is converted to inflammatory mediators through two main pathways. First is cyclooxygenase COX pathway. Yun nagproduce ng prostaglandins and thromboxanes. Next, 5-lipoxygenase pathway. Yun nagproduce naman ng leukotrienes. NSAIDs like aspirin or ibuprofen, yun nagbo-block ng they can block COX pathway, while anti-leukotriene drugs naman target the 5-lipoxygenase pathway to reduce leukotriene production. So when body produces different inflammatory chemicals to different pathways, the body produces different inflammatory chemicals to different pathways. Leukotrienes come specifically from the 5-lipoxygenase pathways, which is why asthma drugs targets this pathway. Next, slide. Leukotriene production process. Leukotrienes, na-produce sila kapag yung cells are stimulated by allergens or inflammation. First, phospholipase A2, nag-release sila ng arachidonic acid from cell membrane. This then converted by the 5-lipoxygenase pathway into leukotrienes. And the key product formed is the LTA4, which is then changed into LTB4, na nag-attract ng inflammatory cells, and cysteine leukotrienes such as LTC4, LTD4, and LTE4, which are the main contributors to asthma symptoms, na nag-cause ng bronchoconstriction, mucus secretion, and airway edema. Leukotriene receptors and effects. So, leukotrienes, they exert their effects by binding sa mga specific receptors. First is BLT receptor. It binds LTB4 and promotes inflammation and immune cell migration. Cis LT1 receptor naman, it causes bronchoconstriction, mucus secretion, and airway edema, and increased airway sensitivity. These are a major role in asthma. Cis LT2 receptor, it causes constriction ng pulmonary blood vessels, while cysteine leukotrienes such as LTC4, LTD4, and LTE4, they're more potent than histamine in causing airway constriction. The cis LT1 receptor, it is the most important sa asthma kasi nag-trigger siya ng airway tightening and mucus buildup. Next slide. Yan, first, drug anti-leukotriene agents, Xylotone. It is a leukotriene synthesis inhibitor type ng anti-leukotriene agents. Prevent siya ng leukotriene formation. Xylotone o Zyflow, it is an oral anti-leukotriene drug that works by inhibiting the 5-lipoxygenase enzyme, thereby preventing the formation ng leukotrienes. Ginagamit siya for prophylaxis and long-term control ng asthma in adults and children aged 12 years and above. Considered siya as a controller medication and it is not used for relief ng acute asthma attacks. So nakakatulong siya sa pag-prevent ng asthma symptoms by stopping the leukotriene production, but hindi siya effective during sudden acute asthma attacks. Next slide. Dosage and administration. Available siya 600 mg tablets. Can be taken as 600 mg 4 times daily or extended release tablets taken twice daily for a total of 2,400 mg per day. Should be taken with meals and at bedtime, and since it is taken multiple times a day, it requires a careful monitoring ng liver function para ma-ensure yung safety during long-term use. Ang mode of action, sa Serotonin, it inhibits the 5-lipoxygenase enzyme. So, binablock na yung conversion ng arachidonic acid into leukotrienes. Piniprevent siya yung formation ng LTA4 and other leukotrienes na nag-cause ng airway inflammation, bronchoconstriction at mucus production sa asthma. So, by stopping yung leukotriene production at an early step, xylitol reduces inflammation and airway narrowing sa asthma. Next is pharmacokinetics. Xylitol is rapidly absorbed after an oral intake and it is highly protein bound. It has a short half-life of about 2.5 hours and it's metabolized by in the liver by the cytochrome P4050 enzymes. The drug is excreted through urine and feces. Xylitol is quickly processed by the body and mainly handled by the liver, which is why liver monitoring is important. Last side effects and lastly is hazards and side effects. Common side effects include headache, abdominal pain, dyspepsia, and general weakness. A major concern is the liver toxicity, which may be present as elevated liver enzymes or symptoms like jaundice or fatigue. Xylitol is considered as a contraindicated. Xylitol is contraindicated in patients with liver disease, and it requires regular monitoring ng liver enzymes. Kasi it may interact with drugs like theophylline and warfarin, which increases the bleeding risk. While effective siya, xylitol must be used carefully due to its possible liver damage and drug interactions, especially with common respiratory medications. Next reporter.
Next is the Verlucas or Azolates. Synthetic asthma prophylactic agent siya na indicated for prophylaxis and yung long-term treatment ng asthma. Approved din siya for use sa children na 5 years old of age or mas matanda pa. And ini-inhibit nito yung asthma reactions natin na induced by exercise, malamig na hangin, allergen, and aspirin. So, yung dosage nito and yung administration niya is administered orally and with specific dosing based on age. So, nakadepende siya sa kung ilang taon yung pasyente. Kapag 5 to 10 years old, 10 grams twice a day. Kapag adults and children naman of 12 years old or older is 20 mg twice a day din. So, yung gamot nito is taken dapat 1 hour or 2 hours before eating kasi nare-reduce nito yung bioavailability ng gamot kapag kumakain tayo. So, yung mode of action naman ng Zafirlukas works by blocking yung leukotriene-mediated inflammation through leukotriene receptor antagonist. Nagbabind siya sa may cis-LT1 receptor with no agonist effect. So, nagkakos siya ng competitive inhibition of LTC4, LTD4, and yung LTE4, and also yung subsequent blockade of inflammatory effect. So, sa pharmacokinetics naman, including dito yung absorption timing, half-life, and metabolism routes. So, rapid oral absorption with peak plasma levels reach 3 hours after dosing. And yung elimination half-life is approximately 10 hours. Metabolize siya sa liver with 10% excreted sa urine and yung remainder is sa feces. So yung hazard and side effects nito is include yung common GI and respiratory related effects and yung potential liver related risk. Yung most commonly na side effects niya is headache, infection, nausea, diarrhea, and yung general na abdominal pain or yung sakit ng tiyan. And infections also na predominantly respiratory. So, ang next naman is yung Montelukast or yung Singulair. Orally active leukotriene receptor antagonist is used for asthma and allergic rhinitis. Montelukast is indicated for prophylaxis and long-term treatment of asthma and has no bronchodilating effect for acute asthma treatment. So, Montelukast has demonstrated yung clinical efficacy niya for mild to moderate asthma and exercise-induced bronchoconstriction, significantly yung improving asthma control versus placebo across multiple pediatric and adult age groups. Clinical improvement is noted dun sa may 12 to 23 months old na children, 2 to 14 years old, and adolescents na older than 15 years old. Sa may pediatric use, safety issues hanggang ngayon is hindi pa rin clear. Pero, ang manufacturer ng Montelukast is sinasabi nila na hindi proven safe and effective ito sa may infants na younger than 6 months of age. So, ang dosage and administration niya is varies by age and formulation na including yung 10 mg tablets, 4 mg to 5 mg chewable tablets, and 4 mg packets of granules. So, sa adults and adolescents na 15 years old and above, 1 10 mg tablet daily. Sa children na 6 to 14 years old, 1 2 mg chewable tablets daily din. Children to 2 to 5 years old naman, 1 4 mg chewable tablets daily or 1 4 mg packet of oral granules daily. Sa may children 12 to 23 months old, 1 4 mg packets of oral granules taken every evening. Sa children 6 to 23 months naman, 1 4 mg packet of oral granules taken daily for allergic rhinitis. Montelukast can be taken with or without meals kasi hindi niya nare-reduce yung bioavailability kapag kumakain tayo or hindi. So, ang mode of action ng Montelukast is nag-work siya as a competitive antagonist for cysteine leukotrienes LTC4, LTD4, and LTE4. So, nagbabind siya with dun sa may high affinity and selectivity ng cis-LT1 receptor subtype. Binablock niya yung cis-LT1 and pinaprevent niya yung leukotriene stimulation of target cells such as airway, smooth muscle, and secretory glands. Ini-inhibit niya din yung both ng early and late phase ng bronchoconstriction caused by antigen challenge. And ang Montelukast has rapid oral absorption with measurable plasma concentrations after dosing. So sa pharmacokinetics naman, rapid absorb after oral administration or mabilis siyang ma-absorb after mo siya inumin. With a 10 mg dose, peak plasma concentrations occurs in 3 to 4 hours with mean oral bioavailability of 64%. Montelukast is extensively metabolized sa liver natin and excreted primarily via bile and with a short adult half-life. And maliit lang yung na-excrete natin sa may ihi natin. So, mean plasma half-life in adults ranges from 2.7 to 5.5 hours. And by mild to moderate hepatic insufficiency increases plasma levels, but no dosage adjustment is required and severe impairment was not evaluated. So, this bioavailability is not influenced by a standard meal in the morning or yung nasabi ko nga kanina na hindi naapektuhan yung bioavailability ng gamot na to kahit pagkatapos or bago tayo kumain. So, next is yung hazards naman ng gamot na to. Yung safety profile of Montelukast is similar sa may placebo with common adverse events reported in 2% or more of cases. Reported adverse events include yung diarrhea, laryngitis, pharyngitis, nausea, otitis, sinusitis, and viral infection. May hypersensitivity reactions din na na-report and also yung liver enzymes natin hindi na siya na-altered gaya sa placebo or compared sa may placebo. Drug interactions may affect yung Montelukast plasma levels and clinical monitoring is suggested with strong inducers. So, kanina, nung sinabi ko nga na nai-increase ng Montelukast na may So, like I said kanina na yung drug interactions may affect Montelukast plasma level, pwede tayong gumamit ng phenobarbital kasi ang phenobarbital is nade-decrease na yung plasma levels natin kapag gumagamit tayo ng Montelukast. So, next is punta naman tayo sa may anti-leukotriene drug or yung role ng anti-leukotriene drugs in asthma management. So, yung anti-leukotrienes are particularly useful for asthma-triggered by exercise, aspirin, and allergens. So, unahin natin yung exercise-induced asthma. Kung paano nakakatulong yung anti-leukotriene drug. So, yung cooling and drying of airway kasi natin, nagpo-promote siya ng leukotriene generation na nagre-release nagre-result ng bronchoconstriction. Pero, anti-leukotrienes develop no tolerance and also helps patients who need exercise under cold and dry conditions without using yung short-acting rescue beta agonist natin. Sa may aspirin-induced asthma naman, aspirin or NSAIDs can cause bronchoconstriction kasi. So, nai-increase nito yung LTC4 synthase activity natin because yung leukotriene production natin is involved din gaya sa may exercise-induced asthma. So, leukotriene modifiers are the treatment of choice. So, next is yung allergen-induced asthma naman. Yung anti-leukotrienes block the early asthma response to allergen challenge and attenuate airway obstruction in the late phase response. Though they are not yung effective at abolishing the late response due to histamine release. So, i-correlate naman natin or i-relate naman natin yung chronic persistent asthma sa may kung paano nakakatulong yung anti-leukotriene drug to support yung asthma natin. So, yung anti-leukotriene drug supports management of mild, moderate, and severe chronic persistent asthma. In mild to moderate asthma, they improve yung lung function natin, reduce the need for rescue beta agonist use, and decrease asthma symptoms, including yung nocturnal symptoms. In moderate to severe asthma naman, additive effect with inhaled corticosteroids support asthma control with lower steroid doses or without increased steroid dosing. Anti-leukotriene drug is effective for 50% of patients but response cannot be predictably reliable. Effectiveness is greater for aspirin-sensitive individuals, yet there is considerable intersubject variability. Sa exercise challenge naman na patients, nag-conduct sila ng study na exercise challenge where nagbigay sila ng 20 mg of Zafir Lucas produced to complete na nakita nila yung result na may 3 subjects na nagkaroon ng complete protection. Meron naman yung 4 subjects na partial protection lang yung nabigay, and may isang subject sila na walang protection na naibigay yung Zafir Lucas sa kanya. So, now, ano naman ngayon ang relation ng anti-leukotriene drug sa may corticosteroids? Anti-leukotriene relate to corticosteroids as a less broad anti-inflammatory agent targeting only yung lipooxygenase pathway. So, ang anti-leukotriene is mas mababa yung effect ng anti-inflammatory agent nito kaysa sa may corticosteroids. So, yung asthma guidelines considered corticosteroid the most effective anti-inflammatory agent with broader activity than anti-leukotrienes, and it has more limited effects. So, sa may mild persistent asthma, choosing between an inhaled steroid and an anti-leukotriene involves offsetting superior steroid efficacy kasi possibly dahil sa poor compliance niya versus dun sa may anticipated superior compliance with orally administered anti-leukotrienes. In mild to moderate asthma naman, an additive effects exists between anti-leukotriene inhaled corticosteroid therapy with combination therapy improving lung function more than either alone. So, dito sa may mild to moderate asthma, mas maganda na ginagamit mo daw both yung anti-leukotriene and inhaled corticosteroid kasi mas nai-improve yung lung function natin kesa gamitin mo siya separately. So another study reports din na montelukast use with long-term inhaled steroid reduced steroid dose by 47% versus 30% with placebo. So, sa anti-leukotriene therapy naman, anti-leukotriene drugs have defined clinical roles as prophylactic controller therapies for persistent asthma and not for acute relief. Not acute relief, ibig sabihin hindi siya pang short, hindi siya for short relief, and hindi siya optimal as monotherapy in persistent asthma or yung ginagamit mo lang siya alone. Dapat sabi dito is dapat kino-combine mo siya sa may ibang treatment. So, monoclonal antibodies. Ano nga ba tong monoclonal antibodies or specifically is yung omalizumab? Ginagamit natin siya for moderate to severe asthma in certain patients like yung 12-year-old adolescents to adults with perennial aeroallergen reactivity, and beneficial siya in treating seasonal allergic rhinitis. So, ang dosage and administration niya is depends on weight and serum IgE, with injections given every 2 or 4 weeks. Supplied as a powder that must be reconstituted 150 mg or 1.2 ml after reconstitution. So, dosing frequency, every 2 or 4 weeks lang. And depends siya sa my patient's weight and yung serum IgE levels natin. So, yung mode of action naman ng omalizumab involves selectively binding human IgE to prevent IgE from attaching to mast cells and basophils. Yung human experience sa may anti-leukotriene drug is specifically LT1 receptor antagonist is bago lang siya. And yung type 2 leukotriene receptor or yung cis-LT2 is not blocked by cis-LT1 antagonists like zafirlukast or montelukast. And the potential imbalance introduced by cis-LT1 anti-leukotriene therapy is not well understood pa, and kailangan pa ng additional clinical experience para mapakita yung safety and effectiveness ng anti-leukotriene therapy. Gaya nga ng sabi ko kanina, yung anti-leukotriene therapy is promising but hindi pa rin siya fully understood. So, balik tayo ulit dun sa may mode of action ng omalizumab. Omalizumab involves action, yun nga, yung selectively binding ng human IgE to prevent yung IgE from attaching to mast cells and basophils. So, by blocking yung IgE natin, hindi nagbabind yung IgE receptors natin dun sa may mast cells and basophils, which reduces yung mediators release during allergic response. So, sa may pharmacokinetics niya, include yung moderate bioavailability, slow absorption to peak levels, and primary liver elimination, and a relatively long life. So after ng parenteral administration, yung average bioavailability niya is 62%. Yung peak concentration occurs after average of 7 to 8 days kasi slow nga yung absorption ng gamot na to. So if doses greater than 0.5 mg or kg are given, a linear correlation exists between dose and drug availability. Omalizumab is eliminated primarily via the liver with a half-life averaging 26 days and clearance that may increase with weight. Ang hazard and side effects naman niya include rare but severe reactions plus more commonly observed respiratory and inject site reactions. Ang pinaka-severe na reaction niya is anaphylaxis or yung severe allergic reaction and malignancy. But parehas dun is napaka-rare lang niya. Yung other commonly observed reactions naman is yung injection site reactions, viral infection, URTI or upper respiratory tract infection, and pharyngitis. So, ang role ng omalizumab in asthma is used for moderate to severe asthma that is not well controlled or hindi nakokontrol yung asthma natin. So, dito yung omalizumab, ina-help niya na mag-exacerbate yung asthma attacks natin and dinidecrease niya din yung need natin for corticosteroid rescue medications, and yung many patients can lower yung steroid dose nila significantly up to 50% or more. So, clinical studies show fewer exacerbations and reduce daily steroid use. So, ang clinical use ng omalizumab is, syempre, gaya nga ng sinabi ko kanina, hindi para sa acute asthma attacks ang omalizumab. And syempre, hindi siya rescue drug. And also, hindi siya replacement for corticosteroid. And lagi nating tandaan na dapat hindi siya use alone. Kasi mas magandang effect niya kapag kinocombine natin siya with other treatments, or mas effective kapag nako-combine siya with other treatments. Omalizumab can help, yun nga, yung reduce high dose of steroid use, prevent yung increasing ng dose ng steroids na ginagamit ng asthma patients, and also, lastly, reduce yung use of rescue medications. That's it for NSAIDs, and thank you very much.